Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we've got a seriously fascinating goal. We're going to extract some powerful, real-world ethical lessons from the animated series Yusuf or Maryam. Now, on the surface, sure, it might look like just a simple cartoon, but beneath that vibrant animation lies a deeply structured curriculum for building character. We're going to break down these scattered little vignettes from the show and translate them into a literal masterclass on practical morality. Stuff that applies to all of us, no matter our age. Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to reflect for a second. How do we actually learn our most important moral values? I mean, it's rarely through pristine, perfect behavior, right? It's usually our childhood mistakes. The clumsy errors, the little white lies, those moments of total selfishness, that is what actually forges our adult ethics. We learn what's right by experiencing the messy, uncomfortable consequences of getting it wrong. And honestly, that is exactly how the characters in our source material learn, too. So, we've synthesized all these scattered stories into our roadmap of 4 overarching themes. First, integrity and truth. Second, upholding trusts and responsibilities. Third, respecting family. And finally, compassion and forgiveness. Let's kick things off with our first major theme, integrity and truth, or as it's referred to in the series, sachai. Be totally honest with yourself right now. Have you ever made a massive mistake and immediately tried to hide it? The series tackles this universal instinct head-on. In one episode, the kids are entrusted with Zara Kala's delicious caramel cake. Well, temptation wins, they completely ruin the cake, and the sheer panic just sets in. Their immediate reaction? A massive cover-up. They even consider baking a fake one or buying a replacement to pass off as the original. In another storyline, a character named Anand gets the absolute highest marks on an exam, not by studying, but by copying. Later, when a teacher asks if he was in the classroom during a specific time to help find a lost gift, Anand panics. He outright denies being there, layering a brand new lie right over his initial cheating. Instead of just owning up to their actions, these characters go to exhausting lengths to cover their tracks. Now, the series anchors these frantic cover-ups with this incredibly profound piece of wisdom from Imam Ali. Avoid actions you have to apologize for later or deny. The show's grandfather figure beautifully uses this quote to basically stop the characters dead in their tracks and think about how deeply applicable this is to our adult, professional, and personal lives. If you have to hide it, or if you know for sure you're going to have to deny it later, well, you probably shouldn't be doing it in the first place. Because here's the kicker, the cover-up is literally always worse than the crime. The characters slowly realize that their deceit is just causing them immense, unbearable stress. It's only when they finally confess, admitting to the baker that they ruined the cake, and Anand actually admitting to his teacher that he copied his exam, that they find actual, genuine relief. Truthfulness always brings salvation. The truth might be super uncomfortable for a moment, but it frees you from the exhausting prison of keeping up a lie. Moving right along to Theme 2, upholding trusts and responsibilities, which is known as amanatdari. So, we just talked about honesty in our actions, right? But what about how we handle the tasks that others give us? The source material introduces a core concept here called amanatdari. This translates directly to safeguarding what is entrusted to you. The series makes it crystal clear that this isn't just some polite suggestion, it is a fundamental benchmark for being a good person in Islamic teachings. If someone gives you an item or relies on you for a task, you are spiritually obligated to protect that trust. We actually see this concept tested through 2 totally contrasting failures, carelessness versus laziness. On one hand, we've got Maryam. She accidentally and carelessly loses her friend Teresa's precious, completely irreplaceable painting of her grandmother while they're playing in the park. Then, on the other hand, we have intentional laziness. Teresa is part of a group project to build a model missile. But instead of doing her assigned research, she just skips out to attend a party, leaving her entire team stranded. Both girls broke a trust, one through negligence with a physical object, and the other through negligence with a shared responsibility. And this brilliantly illustrates a really vital lesson. Quoting the Quran, the show reminds us that believers fulfill their trusts and promises. Fulfilling a promise, whether you're guarding a physical item or simply doing your fair share in a group project, is an actual spiritual duty. When you fail to do your part, you aren't just inconveniencing people, you are breaking a sacred trust. But, and this is important, the explainer doesn't just leave us dwelling on the failure. It shows the proactive steps required to fix broken trusts. Maryam didn't just apologize. She went out, got a real photograph of Teresa's grandmother, and had it beautifully framed as a replacement. Teresa didn't just say sorry for missing the project, she stayed up and completed all her delayed research to make things right. You have to put in the actual work to regain a friend's confidence. Which brings us to theme 3, respecting family and the immense importance of parental guidance. Look, we've all had that instinctual urge to just completely rebel against the rules when we were younger, haven't we? Maryam wants to eat candies all day and stay up super late. This leads her to have a vivid nightmare about a kids-only city. At first, it seems like a total utopia, right? Until a massive thunderstorm hits and the whole place basically turns into Lord of the Flies. Complete chaos ensues, and she has this terrifying realization: there are absolutely no adults around to protect her. When she wakes up, she realizes the heavy spiritual weight of this lesson. The Quranic guidance to be good to parents and to not even say oof to them isn't about blind obedience just for the sake of control. Not at all. It's because a parent's guidance is an immense blessing. Those rules she absolutely hated, they were actually a shield keeping her safe. Acknowledging that protective shield is a form of deep respect. And that leads us perfectly into our 4th and final theme: compassion, gratitude, and forgiveness. Now we're really getting into emotional intelligence, how we treat others when the stakes are high. The series gives us some fascinating vignettes here. In one, the kids conquer their fear of a rumored haunted house, only to find a homeless orphan boy hiding inside. Instead of running away, they pool their resources, gathering school supplies and bags to actually help him get an education. It's awesome. But then, contrast that beautiful compassion with a moment of severe ingratitude. Anand, taking his friend's constant help totally for granted, acts selfishly and accidentally scares away his uncle's incredibly rare Eurasian golden oriole bird. This whole bird incident triggers a super powerful lesson from Grandpa. He explains that if you are grateful for blessings, God gives more. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. Blessings aren't just food, health, or money. Good friends who help you clean a park or catch a lost bird, they are a profound blessing. Taking people for granted is essentially a form of spiritual ingratitude. Expressing thanks for the people in your life is absolutely essential if you want to keep them around. But all of this emotional intelligence, it gets put to the ultimate test in a dilemma about revenge versus strength. A girl named Feroza, who is driven by intense jealousy over a school play, deliberately ruins Teresa's beautiful costume with a juice stain. Now, the immediate reaction from Teresa and Maryam is highly relatable. They want vengeance. Obviously. They plot to ruin Feroza's dress with glue and even sabotage her script dialogues. The tension builds as they find themselves right on the absolute edge of retaliating. But right before they can enact their grand revenge plot, Grandpa steps in. He stops them and drops the absolute narrative climax of the series. He quotes Imam Ali, "Forgiveness is the best act of the powerful." Think about it. Anyone can seek revenge. It's the easiest, most basic reaction. But holding the power to destroy someone who wronged you and actively choosing to forgive them instead, that requires immense internal strength. By forgiving Feroza, they broke the cycle of jealousy and proved that true power actually lies in mercy. So let's summarize what we've uncovered in this explainer. It turns out these simple cartoon vignettes actually provide a highly structured, comprehensive guide for everyday life. Speak the truth, even when it's scary. Safeguard the physical and emotional trusts people place in you. Honor the rules and guidance of your family. And when wronged, choose the profound strength of forgiving others. I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to take into your day. Really look at your own life right now. Are you hiding any actions today that you might have to apologize for or deny tomorrow? If so, maybe it's time to channel a little bit of that courage we learned about today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.